Welcome to Reread, where I'm rereading through the expanded universe in chronological order, and we are going through the Jedi Apprentice series. We're on Book 8, Day of Reckoning. This finally ties up the final story arc with Xanatos and Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan. When last we left in the other book, Qui-Gon had defied the council of the Jedi and had gone off to track down Xanatos because he figures him a threat. Now, I should say that the Jedi Council doesn't even lift a finger and says, "We won't stop you, but we think that's just a distraction. You shouldn't even worry about Xanatos." Well, he just threatened to, blow up the entire Jedi Temple. So what doesn't make him a threat? So that was kind of weird thinking about it now, that the last book where the Jedi Council refuses to help him and Qui-Gon's on his own. I don't know, maybe they wanted to make an adventure of just Qui-Gon on his own and Jude Watson couldn't come up with a better idea. I don't know. But just that, now thinking back on it, doesn't make too much sense. Obi-Wan has decided to join him, even though, I should have mentioned this in the last book, he's still on probation. He's not officially Qui-Gon Jinn's Padawan again. And they talk about that, I believe, on the trip up there, or at least on the trip back, that he's going to have to go through some probation now, and he doesn't know what's happening to him, but he is, what's going to become of Obi-Wan, what the Jedi Council will, decide on his fate, or what all penance, I guess, he has to make. But Qui-Gon at the end of the book tells him, you've got to, you and I will be Padawan Master again soon, don't worry. But during this whole adventure, of course, they're reconnecting to each other, of course, tracking down Xanatos. They go to his home planet of Telos. We find it's a very nice planet. A lot of tourists come in. Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon disguise themselves as tourists, quickly get pinpointed out and start running from the security this whole time. They meet a dealer called Din. He's kind of a shifty little guy, not necessarily a thief, but a little bit of a scoundrel. And he sees that security is going after Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, so he kind of whisks them away on his little speeder or his little floating platform while they're making bets. There's this big game of, games, and everyone makes bets, and it keeps getting higher and higher. And then they randomly select a few citizens, and they get to make the final bet, which can win the entire pot. It's like a big world lottery that someone's always going to win, and then they're going to, live the rest of their life free and wonderful. And the whole planet, unknown to Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, they love Xanatos. When he appears to announce the big winner of the next game, everyone's cheering for him. They love him. They don't know all the stuff he's been doing off-planet or the stuff he's doing to their planet. They make a connection that Off-World is secretly mining resources of Telos. And so Xanatos is really just routing his own planet. He's screwing his own planet, but he's having them focus on this wild lottery and all these, kind of like gladiator-style games to kind of razzle-dazzle them, look at the little shiny bauble over here while I rob the planet of all its natural resources. And so Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan know this is the case, but they have to prove it. And so while Obi-Wan is trying to help prove it, Qui-Gon is, of course, trying to confront and stop Xanatos. Now, Xanatos knows, he figures out very quickly that they're on the planet, so he expects them. They do get captured for a short time, but Din and his partner, I cannot remember her name right now, Arand, I want to say, but they rescue the Jedi. Xanatos is angry, but he knows he'll catch them eventually because they can't get off planet without, him seeing it. So he's closely guarding all the ports and everything, but of course he knows the Jedi are coming for him. He just doesn't know when or how. Now, as Obi-Wan and the other girl, Randa or something, are trying to uncover or make the connection between Off-World and Xanatos, that he's mining, pillaging his own planet, Qui-Gon is setting up to where there's going to be a big Titantron of all these images of Off-World mining their own resources and showing the connection between Xanatos. Well, when Obi-Wan fails to get that connection, he decides to go back because he realizes what Qui-Gon's plan was all along, and he can't fail. And so he goes back to try to find the evidence. He does in time. They expose Xanatos. Everyone is mad and angry now that Xanatos has been, basically lying to them. So the whole planet's turned against him. Of course, he and Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan have this big last battle. Xanatos is trying to go after Obi-Wan and guilt him into killing Brooke from a previous novel. Obi-Wan fights through that guilt and keeps going after Xanatos, making Qui-Gon Qui-Gon very proud. Xanatos is cornered. Din and the other girl show up on speeder bikes, ready to shoot him with blasters. He's surrounded. There's a pit of acid behind him, and instead of letting himself be captured and tried on his home planet, he just kills himself. Now, reading through this again, I think it was a good choice. It's not a cheat, that he just jumped into an acid pit. Why would Xanatos do that? He loves himself. Yeah, but he's way too prideful. His image has been destroyed, and he knows he's going to jail, and he doesn't want to live that life. He doesn't want to give Qui-Gon the satisfaction of him. Now, sadly, in real life, this kind of happened to someone I knew. We were working on a show together, and one day he disappeared. Later on, we found out he committed suicide because he was stealing from his company and he'd gotten busted. So instead of living up to those ramifications, sadly, he took his own life, just like Xanatos. So Jude Watson is basically this. I think it's very logical that Xanatos would do something like this. And, right or wrong, Xanatos is now destroyed. That story is over and done with. And as Qui-Gon goes back, of course, that's where he assures Obi-Wan that, yes, one day we will be Padawan and Master again. And so Obi-Wan is comforted by that. Overall, this I would say is the first story arc of Jude Watson's series. She finally got to it 8 books in, and yeah, it's satisfying. Xanatos wasn't a villain that was in every book, kind of mentioned here and there. He came back when was needed. You didn't have to drag a storyline and wonder why it took so long for him to come back and do something. Or it wasn't just about Xanatos escaping from Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon for 8 novels. Okay, Xanatos is in it at the beginning, mentioned a little bit in the middle, and then later on, he's finally, has his own end, and justice is served. So if it was just these 8 books, let's say this was all that Jedi Apprentice had, it would be an awesome series. But thankfully, she would go on to make several more, and I am thankful for that. In fact, I'll review those next time.